back to the Ultimate Warp Zone. I am, as always, Captain N, and this is episode number 29. Well, as you can see by the setup, we're going to be playing Back to the Future 2 and 3. Last year, at this time, October 26th, at 1:21 p.m., I did get a letter from Doc Brown. It stated that I was going to be getting Back to the Future 1 in the mail. I did. It came in a package with a letter stating that I needed to destroy the game because Biff and Griff had gone back in time and bullied LJN to make horrible games, and they certainly did. I was supposed to destroy the game, I didn't, and look what happened. I have to play these crummy LJN games. And then, because I didn't destroy it, at the end of last year's episode, Back to the Future 2 and 3 and Biff's Pleasure Palace Casino games appeared on Nintendo. Well, today we're not going to play this Pleasure Palace Casino game. I'm not taking the risk. See you later. We're going to play Back to the Future 2 and 3. Not a very good game. It's only a tiny bit better than Back to the Future 1. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to be destroying those games to see if we can restore the timeline. Let's hope it does this time, because we don't want any more LJN games showing up here, any more than are already made. Taking a look at the games themselves, it is a two-part game with a bunch of stuff in it. If you've played it, you know that it's randomized. We won't be able to beat it today, obviously. But before we get into that, you know what time it is. It's letter time. Okay, so wait a minute. What's this? Well, today's letter is right here. It's from 1985. Oh, this ought to be interesting. Now, let's take a look at it and see what it says. Okay. It says, Dear Captain N, what are you looking at, Butthead? Biff. What am I looking at? Biff, this is a letter. Yeah. You know what? Never mind, Biff, never mind. I guess we'll scratch today's letter period. Well, we're going to see if we can restore the timeline. I don't want to screw anything else up. I don't want any more games appearing like Biff's Pleasure Palace Casino. But, yeah, let's take a look and see what we can do here. So we're going to take a look a little bit about the game, first of all, see what we can find. Now, there wasn't a whole lot to find on this game because it's so bad. I'm bad. But if we look at that, some information is Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 is a 1990 video game for the NES, obviously, based on the second and third films, and I'm going to say loosely, in Back to the Future trilogy. This game was produced by Beam Software and published by Acclaim Entertainment under their LJN label. The cover looks cool. As you can see, I'll throw that up on the screen. There you go. The cover looks cool. You'd think it's going to be a good game. But then you see LJN. And you think Biff and Griff screwing it up. Now the plot for part 2 is when Doc takes Marty to the year 2015 to prevent his future son from committing a crime, old Biff takes the Gray Sports Almanac and travels back to 1955 and gives the book to his younger self. Over the next 3 decades, young Biff uses the information to win money on the outcome of each sporting event he bets on, making him the richest and most powerful man in the world by 1985. That's the alternate 1985. To ensure that no one else gets their hands on the almanac, Biff travels through time and collects various items and puts them behind locked doors in 3 different periods, obviously just like the movie happened. The action has caused a disruption in the time, and now the space-time continuum is falling apart. With Hill Valley in ruins, Marty must now travel to all 3 periods to find and return all of the items back to their original places in order to retrieve the almanac and destroy it. Little do you know, the items you get, you have to return them to the right time period, and then you have to unscramble words, which is just like the movie. Right? And then part 3, which, if you're even lucky to get even remotely through anywhere through part 2 in the Nintendo game, part 3, after Marty returns all items to their rightful places and burns the almanac, lightning strikes a DeLorean and sends Doc back in time, leaving Marty stranded in 1955 once again, which is like the movie. At the same time, Marty receives a letter from Doc via a courier that was written in 1875, although 1885 in the film. According to the old letter, Doc has become stranded in the past and must be rescued, or else this will start another time ripple effect. Unlike the movie, not really. Now, with the help from 1955 Doc, Marty must get back in time in order to rescue the present-day Doc with the aged but repaired DeLorean. Before they can return to 1985, Marty must find and return 10 more items to their rightful location. You know, just like the movie, obviously. To impede his progress, Outlaw Buford Tannen has other plans. I don't have words to describe this horrible game. I should have destroyed Back to the Future 1 last year when I had the chance, so I'm not going to make the same mistake this time. The player controls Marty and attempts to defeat the enemies by jumping on or throwing projectiles at them. The player must also collect fuel for the time machine and junk food for extra lives as they progress through each timeline. Too bad they couldn't get Pepsi to sponsor this game. Scattered and hidden throughout each timeline are object rooms containing objects, obviously, which must later be returned to other locations, and alleyways used to navigate street to street with the timeline. Some alleyways appear in all 3 timelines, while others appear in 1 or 2, but not all 3. At other points, the player must use the DeLorean to navigate large chasms that appear on different timelines. There's the object rooms. As the player progresses through the level, they obtain keys by killing certain enemies. These keys are used to unlock various object rooms throughout each level. Within each room, the player must obtain 1 item scattered by Biff. The rooms appear as locked doors in Part 2 and caves or buildings in Part 3. To retrieve the items Biff scattered, the player must participate in a minigame within the object room involving collecting a certain number of stopwatches in 60 seconds while avoiding the enemies and obstacles such as cacti, quicksand, and falling pellets. You know, just like the movie. Puzzle room. Puzzle rooms are hidden throughout each level and found in various drain pipes, I guess like Super Mario Brothers, and manholes. Each puzzle room contains a scrambled name of the object that belongs there, just like the movie. The player must unscramble the words and select the proper item from their inventory. Correctly choosing the item that belongs with the puzzle room reveals one section of a picture puzzle. However, if the player chooses the wrong item, the item is removed from their inventory and returned to the object room in which it was previously located, forcing the player to complete the challenge within that room to re-obtain the object. That's fun. Sarcasm. In Part 3, the puzzle rooms are located under rocks that the player must break open by jumping on them a few times. There is time travel. After finding the remote control to summon the DeLorean, the player can time travel between 1955, 1985, and 2015. However, the adequate fuel must be collected before being able to time travel using the DeLorean. Additionally, each time the player time travels, a clone of Marty is created in that year, which when touched will instantly kill the player. That's kind of cool. I like that. Some platforms are out of reach in certain areas which need to be accessed to progress through the level. A player can plant an acorn in 1955 and then revisit the same location in 1985 or 2015, where a full-grown tree appears, allowing the player to access previously unattainable space. That's cool as well. It hasn't been received very well, as you can tell. Going through, some people gave it a largely negative review due to the lack of password or save features coupled with its notorious length, although there was a code to skip the second half of the game. To get there, I did get a letter from Doc from the last time this episode was on. In that letter, I didn't read it last time because I wasn't sure what it was, but now I do understand. If you go load up the game, hold B and select and type in flux capacitor is the power, all one word, you can skip part 2 and go to part 3. Again, load up the game, hold B and select, and use the password flux capacitor is the power, all one word, you'll get to part 3. In fact, if you don't want to play part 2, that's the only way to get to part 3. Now, people have stated it just takes too long to play through this game. Because it's random, it takes roughly 6 hours just to map it out, and most people just turn it off out of boredom. So, not very good with that. Now that we've gone through that, let's take a look at the manual. So here we have the lovely picture, which you go, hey, it looks like it's going to be good. And then you play the game and you turn it off. And destroy it if we can today. So we get the good old thanks for choosing LJN's Back to the Future 2 and 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Please read this entire manual to get the most enjoyment out of the game. Well, we'll see if we get any enjoyment out of the manual, because we're going to get none out of the game. Thanks a lot, Biff. So it says Marty McFly... here's a story. Marty McFly through... This manual is very tiny on my screen here. Marty McFly, through all his troubles... Oh, and if I could see it correctly, let me zoom in. Oh, there we go. Marty McFly thought all of his troubles were over when he was able to get back from 1955 to 1985 in one piece, but he couldn't have been more wrong. There was some serious trouble in his future, and it was the only one who could fix it. Unfortunately, he also made it possible for Biff Tannen to alter the past and mess up the present. Yeah, by sending me this horrible LJN game. So it's up to you and Marty to return the past, present, and future to where they're supposed to be and hopefully make everything right again. And that's just the beginning. In the beginning, first half of the game takes place in 3 different time periods: 1955, 1985, and 2015. Your job is to return 30 objects to the correct time periods and repair the space-time continuum. To do this, you must explore all 3 time periods and find the special rooms where each of the objects are hidden. After that, you have to place the objects in the correct locations in the space-time puzzle rooms. Do that, you can breathe easily again. Well, almost. So what you see, there's the status panel. The panel keeps you updated on the important level events. It shows the number of lives remaining, number of junk food points, and the amount of nuclear fuel and your score. The object panel. This panel shows the number of keys and number of rooms you've explored, as well as indicating whether you've collected the time machine's remote control, any seed pods, or the compass. If you have collected these powerful objects, the panel allows you to call them up and use them. There's life on the streets. I'm not going to read that. You can read it on the screen. There's moving about. We know how to move Marty, obviously. Up to, or down to enter doors. Down to enter manhole covers. Select to change the display panel. B to fire, A to jump, and start to pause. Now, there are movable platforms. Some of the platforms move up, down, or left and right, depending on where they are, obviously. There's also a hoverboard. I thought that was awesome, but the hoverboard moves way too fast. Great picture of Griff there. It does say Biff will sometimes fly by on his own hoverboard. I believe that's Griff. Biff would be old. Either way. Now, there is stuff you'll see, the object rooms and the puzzle rooms. We did talk about those, so I won't go over that again, because, yeah, it's fun enough. There's the creatures and stuff. You know, all the stuff from Back to the Future. It says, as you travel through the streets of Hill Valley, you run into all sorts of different creatures and obstacles. You can get rid of most of them by jumping on them, but some are stronger than you. Keep away from any bombs, any fish blowing bubbles, because that'll hurt Marty, or hail falling from the clouds. Okay. What do we have here? We have a frog, a hamburger, a fish, a turtle, and a monkey. All from Back to the Future, if you've ever seen the movies. Great things you can pick up. Great. Some of the creatures you meet are holding on to special items that they'll drop if you jump on them. But you've got to grab the items quickly because they'll fall off the edge of the screen. They do. They fall right off if you don't grab them. They don't stay on the ground. They just bounce right off the screen. Some of the items will also be scattered through the streets as well, but will be difficult. They'll be in difficult reached places. Junk food. I think it would be a Pepsi bottle. But I don't think Pepsi would want to sponsor this mess. There are 2 bonus items that will give you extra lives. Pizza and sodas. Sodas are worth 1 point, and a slice will give you 10. Collect 100 junk food points and you get an extra life. You'll need all the lives you can get in this game. Nuclear fuel. You need nuclear fuel in order to power your way through different time periods. You need 10 fuel units to go between 1955 and 1985, or between 1985 and 2015. But you'll need 16 units to go between 1955 and 2015. Stars. Picking up the stars will give you firepower, which can be a big help when going gets tough. But be careful, because you'll lose this power if you lose a life. It does help a lot with the stars. I didn't know they were stars when you look at them on the screen, but now we know. Keys. You've got to get into the object rooms in order to find all the objects and return them to their proper time. But you'll need keys in order to get in. Once you've opened an object room, it'll stay unlocked until you complete it. Well, I guess our time clock is just shut off. Let's fix that. There we go. Alright. Where were we? Yeah, seed pods. There are some rooms or areas that you can't reach using any of the platforms. If you found a seed pod, though, you can take a time machine back to 1955 and immediately jump out before the time machine can move. Select the object panel using the select button and use the cross key to choose a seed pod and press A. When you travel back to the future, the seed will have grown into a plant large enough for you to climb up to the area you want to get to. Tree, I guess. The compass. If you want to complete the game, not really. You will really need to make yourself a map as you go along. I tried that and it is just insane. But sometimes you'll lose track of where you are. In fact, all the time you will. But if you've got the compass, you'll be able to find yourself pretty easily. Simply call up the object panel using the select button and highlight the compass. Press A and your current street number and position on that street are displayed. If you mark locations on your map as you go along, it will be much easier to find your way around in all 3 time periods, but you have to find the compass. The end of the game. Has anybody got to the end of the game? Where is it? So you finally collected all the misplaced objects and put them back where they belong. And you think that you can relax, right? Not a chance. Yes, there's still one more adventure to go through before the world and space-time continuum are safe again. Hope you make it, for all of our sakes. Well, unfortunately, we won't make it there because we don't have like a 6-hour time window to do that in. Because I like to show you some of the game. Sometimes they play great, sometimes they don't. But before we get into the game, let's take a look at the rules. So, I've seen the rules all the time, but if you are new to this video, the rules are to set up the Power Glove. As you can see in the little video to your right, it does show you how to set it up. Most people don't have the poster or the manual, so they just mess around with it or read up on it on the internet. If you check out my very first video, it shows you how to set up the Power Glove, because most people say, oh, it doesn't work. It does work. You have to set it up right. You have to set the sensors up right. And you have to turn off the turbo, or else you're constantly jumping or shooting fireballs, or whatever your game you're playing is unplayable. So take a look at that if you want to know how to set up your Power Glove if you have it and you don't happen to have the manual. I'll show you how to do it and set it up correctly. So now that we've done that, unfortunately, let's jump into Back to the Future 2 and 3. Alright, here we are. Well, we've got some music resembling the game. Well, the movie, I guess. It's trying to do a rendition of Back in Time. I like to go back in time before this game was made. I don't believe there's anything else on the starting screen other than this. I mean, there's a DeLorean. It's got that going for it. I guess it's going to restart here. Well, let's get the Power Glove set up. And you know what helps? Is actually plugging in the Power Glove. I will be right back. All right, back. Power Glove's plugged in. That always helps to use the Power Glove. So, make a fist. Center it. Get comfortable, because we're going to need to be comfortable for this game. Hit start. In the year 2015, your arch enemy Biff stole Doc's time-traveling car, DeLorean, and a sports almanac. He then traveled through to 1955 and gave the book to his younger self. I like that Biff Tannen graphic there. By 1985, Biff, using the information in the sports almanac, became the most powerful and corrupt man on Earth. To protect the almanac, Biff scattered objects throughout space, and I guess I hit the button. You're quiet. I hit the button again. All right, well then. Now go for it. See, there's a DeLorean. That'd be awesome. Biff bar. And you have to hit the button to jump out of the DeLorean. So left, right, jump. There's a nuclear symbol. This is Hill Valley. It's really messed up. Like, really messed up. If you go in the door, you have to collect the pizza and the cookies, I guess. Are those cookies? Pizza, maybe? Maybe those are whole pizzas. And go through the warp pipe for Mario Brothers? I don't know. They're really messed up with this game. Now there's a door. You need to jump on enemies to get keys. And you run into an enemy, that's that. See if we can get this turtle. Or snail. Nothing. This is not a Power Glove game. This is horrible. Nothing. And at least they could have got a song from the movie or something. There's the walking hamburger. Can't jump on these guys because they have spikes. Oh! Well, at least you have a lot of lives. There's a doorway you can go through. There's a cloud dropping hail. Now that we've read the manual, we kind of know what's going on here. Let's see if we can jump on this hamburger. No, we can't jump on the hamburger. Oh, nuclear symbol. And down the pit I go. Come on, we need a key. There's a hoverboard. Watch this craziness. Look how fast that hoverboard goes. And it flies right out from underneath your feet. So you need to find a key. And in order to get keys, you don't jump down pits. You have to jump on the enemies. Hoverboard apparently blows up if you use it too much. You know, just like in the movie. Wow, how did I jump on that guy? I have no idea. But we got a key. Great. But we shouldn't jump down the pit like that. Yeah, this is not a Power Glove friendly game at all. We're gonna see if we can find that door, if we can make it to it. Yeah, this is exactly what all the people want to play when they think of Back to the Future. Oh, see, you have to collect all the clocks. But don't touch the cacti. Like that. Then you're out, and you can go back in. But because the Power Glove isn't sensitive enough, game over. That is Back to the Future 2 and 3. I am not going to play that again. That was horrible. Have you guys beat that game? Let me know if you have. Have you tortured yourself playing that? That is not good. On the Famicom, there is a great version of Back to the Future. Hoverboard and Marty with the correct color vest. Unlike Back to the Future 1 for Nintendo with a black vest, I believe it was. It was just... ugh. These games are going to give me nightmares. These are horrible. Well, you know what we need to do with these games is we need to destroy them. I am not going to play through any new LJN games other than the ones that have been created already. This needs to stop. We should have followed Doc Brown's advice beforehand. So you know what? Let's get rid of these games. Tell me, Captain, what are we playing this time? Is it Metroid or Mario Sunshine? All I wanted to do was play with the Power Glove. So let me game until then. But you better promise me no more LJ.